Scotland. I'm Scottish. I like Scotland.
Well then, it's a pleasure.
Cheers. Is that what you do? Yeah? Whoa, 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 whoa! Look at my fingers work. Wow.
Yeah, see? Now we're getting into it.
Hello, you fabulous creatures, and welcome back to Scotchbox. The official Star Trek convention happened at the beginning of August, and the Trekkies at Sansar were there with the booth, allowing people to experience VR for the first time. This includes a lot of Star Trek alumni who are trying out a real holodeck for the first time. This was actually a surprise recording. I was not expecting to do it, which is why it's captured from a stream instead of directly. That's also why the sound might seem a little strange. While I have a mod mic connected to my Vive, which everyone in Sansar can hear, the recorded audio you're hearing is actually from a Blue Yeti microphone in the living room. So if you'll excuse the audio and a little head bopping from excited VR use, let's get on with the show.
This is the second worst thing I've ever seen.
Everybody's so
Can you say your catchphrase for me?
Which catchphrase?
You know what?
I don't know what you mean.
It begins
I'm
with
not
B.
Commander Bleep Bloop.
You are! Say it!
Also, may I interest you in Space Outside? That took 2 years on its own in development time. Yeah, it's see, and
Let's all go
this
look at space.
and this Rodberry figure here too.
Whoa!
I'm in space.
Oh, that's
Hey Drax, what's that?
Who wants to play Gene Roddenberry Keep Away? Catch!
Oh my god.
throw it.
Please tell me you do voiceovers for a living, Scott.
Certainly.
Seriously.
Yes. Look up Dr. Richard Sexy Times on Audible to hear my entire... Thank you.
I was about to start looking that
Wait. Can you say that again as if you just came up with it? I'm gonna film this. So what's your name on Audible?
I'm afraid it doesn't work that way. It's spontaneous. It's called wit, but I'm sure something else will happen. To the Federation Theatre.
So we have a little bit of a change, I believe. We have Casey in here before Jeff. Let's get back here.
Everyone gather around in a circle. Let's make sure he feels really exposed.
You gotta take me out to dinner first, Casey. So we've got a bunch of people that want to talk to. Let's see if we can get you.
I do really enjoy watching these guys try and figure out VR for the first time.
Hey, everybody, let's come over here. We're gonna do
My legs don't seem to be working.
doing a good wall dance.
Damn.
Everybody's going by me. Is it something I said?
So Casey, we got a bunch of people here that are excited to meet you. Are you ready to do
I am. Let's rock
questions
and
and
roll.
answers? Let's do it. Everybody, this is Casey Biggs. Casey, do you want to introduce yourself in case there are folks that are new?
Cheers, everybody. I can't see anybody, but
Oh, we're still getting y'all set up. Huh?
Hey, Chat Fairy, what's up? Good to see you.
In some ways, the getting set up is the best part.
Agreed.
Casey is teleported behind us now.
Great, let's chase him.
He's escaping. Break his legs.
Yeah, Bagnaria's here somewhere.
Bagnaria's around.
Some people are shy.
Okay, it's time to play Catch the Casey. Come on, everyone.
There he is. He's over here.
We know actors at Comic-Con are so shy.
I know.
That's a Lacey talking.
I'm walking there. Hey, how you doing? Cheers.
Hey.
Welcome.
Cheers. Yo, all right.
Let's
Get this party
maintain.
started. Huh?
Let's do it. All right, Casey. Welcome to Sansar.
How do I look? That's the question.
You look great.
Fantastic. Oh my god.
So I don't think I have a Cardassian head, right?
Alas,
no.
All those Cardassians are pretty good looking, though, don't you think?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
in their prime.
Whenever I tell people I'm a Cardassian, they said, "You mean the women with the big butts?" I said, "No."
So Casey, we're all here and we're all super excited. We've been having folks come in all the time. Do you want to introduce yourself to everybody and sort of tell us about your role in the Star Trek universe?
Casey Biggs, you hopefully know that I played
Yes.
Leggett Damar on DS9. And what else did I do? They asked me to do something on Enterprise once. And they said, "Oh, come on, we got like this great new race. They're called, what were they called? I don't know, and they said, it's going to be a new race. But I came in and what's his name? Who was the head of that guy? Scott Bakula?
Scott Bakula.
Yes.
What was his character? He tried to steal my warp core or something, and then I should have shot the son of a bitch. That's the last time you saw these Illyrian. It was an Illyrian. That's what it was. So I had luckily did 5 years on DS9. I started as a Glyn and ended up a Legate. I ended up the leader of the Cardassian Empire. How cool is that? And I died saving my race. You know, if you have to die, it's good to die in the last 5 minutes of the last episode of the last season, and you go out a hero. So I think Garrick put up a statue of me on Cardassia somewhere. So.
That's where I'd want a statue of me, of course.
Hey, did any of you guys out there in this virtual world get to see the documentary? What we leave
actually,
behind?
I stumbled across it yesterday. I saw the trailer. Super interesting.
It's fascinating. If you get a chance, take a look at it. It's so fascinating.
Oh, Casey, that'd be really interesting. We do a watch party with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's what I love about it. It talks a lot about how the process of how a show gets made, or how characters get done, or whatever. And you know, we were the dark horse of Star Trek. They left us alone. That's why we could do those really cool storylines.
But it was really ahead of its time too.
It was.
It was a great show.
It was. The writers were fantastic. I thought I was going to be on one episode. I ended up being on 5 years, and went from here to like the leader of the Empire. So I guess they must have liked my work, huh?
So what is it like being a part of one of the most well-beloved and well-known sci-fi franchises of all time?
I had no idea what I was getting into when I got this part. I thought, I'll tell you a story. I've told it before. Who's doing the ballet over there? That's pretty cool. Anyway, I went in for this audition, and I had 5 words. I went to Juilliard. I'm a classical actor, right? Shakespeare, all that stuff. The words were like, this was the scene, literally one scene. They're in range, sir. Fire.
It's like I was really there.
Perfect.
That was it. And I walked out of the room and I said, man, they could have anybody do this. What am I doing here? But what I didn't realize is that they had big plans for that character, right? And also, Ira, the executive producer, he was a huge fan of the Alamo. You guys know what the Alamo was? You know, back in the 1860s.
Yes.
The actual Alamo.
The Alamo. And I did this, the very first, anybody see IMAX
yes, they're
films?
talking about
They're like 5 stories high. This was the very first IMAX, dramatic IMAX film anybody ever shot. And I played the lead in it, who was Colonel William Travis, and he was the hero of the Alamo. Little did I know that Ira was a huge fan of the Alamo. So I had that job the moment I walked in the door. I didn't know it though, but I thought it was one day, literally. I thought it was gonna be one day. So I'm sitting there if you go watch the episode, Gul Dukat and I have taken, you got this old junker ship for some reason. And I'm sitting at the panel, the control panel, and I literally say, they're in range, sir, fire. And the director came over to me and he said, they have big plans for this character. I said, I've got 2 pounds of rubber on my face. I don't even know if I can act with this. So that's how I got that job, But it was wonderful. And being part of the Star Trek world, taking us all over the world, and it's a true honor to do that.
How do you feel about these conventions and interacting with fans?
Well,
sometimes they can be a little bit, getting too close for comfort. And how do you feel about interacting?
I feel that the fans spend so much money to come to these things, and they deserve our attention. So me and the guys that I hang out with, Jeff and Max and Armin and all these guys, we pay a lot of attention to the fans. Because like a lot of some people who I won't mention, James T. Kirk. Oh, I won't mention him. They just sit there and sign and sign and sign and sign. They don't look up. They don't talk to you. Because I think attention must be paid. So I usually ask people where they're from, why they get into. I was in Italy one time. Anybody here from Italy, by the way? I was at a con in Italy, and to me it was fascinating. There were a couple thousand people. They were mostly there for the community that they bring.
Yeah.
Almost much more than just come and see the celebrities. I was very, very moved by that, actually, because they just like what Star Trek represents. in the world as it should, which is inclusion and intelligence and science. The sad part is too many people in our world they don't believe in science. How about that, huh? Jeez. Anyway, if we didn't have Star Trek, we wouldn't have iPhones. We wouldn't, you guys know this. You got a phone.
yeah.
It's how many times more powerful than we just had the 50th anniversary of the Apollo mission. This little thing that we carry in our hands is 1,000 times more powerful than the computer that took them to the moon. Just blows you away, doesn't it? Anyway, so I
40 million
I
times.
truly, to answer that question, I think I enjoy it. And what's interesting too, I don't know if any of you have seen us. Some of the guys, we do the Rat Pack. We perform. We got the Enterprise Blues Band. We go on these cruises with all Star Trek fans. So if you have a chance to do that, you should do that sometime. That's pretty cool. Something else?
I have a question. You're in VR for probably the first time.
Yes.
Maybe.
Is that who's talking to me? The nice legs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Nice.
That's her name.
Transgender in real life. Yes. How do you feel about the future, maybe, of acting in VR in the future?
I tell you, it's a
It's a
little.
platform that has that potential.
It's a little disconcerting. You know why? Because you won't need us.
We totally need you because you still do the
But
acting.
you're still acting.
Yeah, but
You're
it's not.
acting a avatar instead.
But it's not really, because I mean, acting is about, to me, the kind of acting is about revealing your soul, right? Revealing. They say the eyes are the the eyes are the mirror window to the soul. The problem with the avatar stuff, until it gets a little better, it's a little hard, and the thing that's disconcerting is that you can do an entire movie, and they have done entire movies without any actors at all. Voice acting sometimes, it's like pretty soon they won't have to do that. So, but it's going to change things, and it'll be interesting to see how it changes things. But still, there's nothing like sitting in a seat watching a human being tell you a story. That's to me is the most exciting. So, there we are.
I have a question actually.
Who's that?
Just since it's over here, the blonde with the blue dress.
It's hard to look at the dress.
Sorry. I appreciate that. So you mentioned that you're kind of classically trained, Shakespeare, etc. There's a couple other actors, obviously, in Star Trek that are the same way. Do you guys kind of hang out at all based on that?
A great deal of the DS9 people were classically trained, and I maintain that you have to be classically trained in order to speak that kind of language and make it sound like it's coming from a living, breathing person. A lot of that techno babble, and if you saw our show, Jeff and I were always, in front of big screens talking about all kinds of techno stuff. So you have to have a real facility for the language to be able to do that, and also to be able to be an alien, as I was, and say what is the experience of an alien, and to have that come through. So it's challenging, and I think you need that kind of training myself.
Right. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did having all of those prosthetics applied to affect your sort of acting process?
Yeah, it was fascinating because some people couldn't. I had a stuntman who sometimes we do stunts, and he couldn't stand being in that makeup. He would rip it off the moment he was done, and to me it didn't bother me. I had 9 pieces on my face, and what's fascinating is to leave yourself alone.
That's
and
just
let
on a Sunday night.
the costume do the work.
That's my husband.
Finds me in bed with a nondescript Cardassian woman to tell me that my wife and kid were killed in the war.
What did I miss?
I had a wife and kid as a character. And that's the moment I gave up the Canar. I took it and I looked, I was going to drink it, and I threw it at the mirror. You see, and that's the last time I had to drink that crap. Oh my God. What's interesting, they liked the way I looked in the bar with work.
You got your
They
mic.
made me an alcoholic for 2 years.
on the main screen.
That stuff was so bad. It was. You know what Caro syrup is?
Oh,
You know what that is? It's like really, really thick sugars, syrup, terrible. And so I had to. That proves what a good actor I am. It looked like I liked it, right?
Yeah.
I hated that stuff. But anyway, I liked that one, and I also liked it when they allowed me to have a little more of a sense of humor. I don't know how well you know the show, but there's a scene where Worf breaks Wei Yun's neck and dies.
Yikes.
And then I'm sitting there drinking, and in comes the next Wei Yun, because they clone him, and he starts, mouthing off to me, and I look at him, and I start, I say, hey, better be careful, I'll be talking to Wei Yun number 9. So I like it when they give you a little sense of humor. And I also like the end of the show. If you haven't seen it, you watch the last episode.
No, it's if I click away to change the volume levels,
come together.
The game just decides not to bother
take
anymore.
back Cardassian, and it says in the script, Damar is killed by.
Could you try putting the game on the top level?
Alien. ND means
see if that does anything.
It means they don't have a name. And I said to the director, I said, "Come on, let's killed by a nondescript alien." So they said, "Well, what do you want to do?"
Thank you.
I said, "This is what I want to do." Anybody see any John Woo movies? You know what John Woo movies are? They're like bullet ballets.
Yeah.
Bullet ballets. So I said, "Listen, I want 2 big guns. I want to take out 50 Jem'Hadar, and I want my chest to explode, and I want to die in somebody's arms."
Perfect.
And the director said, okay. So I did all that. I did all that, but the only problem is the arms I died in was Garrick's. I get blown up and I die in Garrick's arms. So, but that was a good death. If you're going to have to die, it's a good death.
Yeah, that's great, especially after 5 years. I think we have time for one more question, so let's...
time flies in virtual reality.
Most certainly does. Its time is virtual here. Anybody got one last question? If not, I've got one. Well, what was the most challenging scene you ever had to film, and why?
DS9, the most challenging scene? Well, I was doing a play in New York. I got the play, and I went to the producers, and I said, hey, guys, because the way they handle what they call recurring characters, which is what we work, they never tell you how many shows you're going to do. Every time you think, well, this is the last show. So I went to the producers, hey, I got this big Broadway show. He said, what? What are you talking about? I said, well, I'm going to New York in 2 weeks to do a show. We got you written into 13 episodes. I said, you didn't tell me that. So what was nice about it, they flew me back on my day off on a Monday. We had Mondays off. They fly me back on Monday, and I would shoot the scenes. And the way they did it is that's when they put Jeff and I in front of those big screens to talk about technobabble. But you had to learn pages of all this technobabble. That to me was, because it doesn't relate to anything. They're going through the Alpha Quad to District 17, and it doesn't mean anything. So to me, those are difficult. But in terms of challenging, it wasn't that challenging because the writing was so good. And it was so good because the storytelling was coming from an honest place. And that's great stuff to have to act in, But man, I would love to see what all your houses look like. Holy mackerel.
They're really cool.
They have entire worlds.
My God, I bet, huh?
You're welcome to come back anytime.
Yeah,
Yes.
This is just a smidgen of what's here.
Oh my gosh. And so
See my house, man. So messy.
I bet
You
it.
like that, though, man?
What's the kitchen look like? Yeah, just before the end here, I want to know what all your names are. What's yours?
My name is Daisy.
From where?
From Britain, yeah, the only known species of alligator from Britain.
All right.
Hi, I'm Alex from Scotland.
Scotland. I'm Scottish. I like Scotland.
Well then, it's a
I want to
pleasure.
cheers. Is that what you do? Yeah? Whoa, 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 whoa. Look at my fingers work. Wow.
See, you can. Now we're getting into it.
Okay. The blue dress that I can't look at.
Oh, yeah, no, Disney Canada.
Canada. All right.
Other title?
You're the Chat Fairy. Where do you live, Chat Fairy?
I Sansar.
I think it is time to wrap it up, actually. Thank you so much, Casey. This has been super fun.
Thank you, Tracy.
Woo!
Thank you.
Found the way.
In VR, it's great.
And for real, you're welcome to come back anytime. We can show you the rest of the stuff.
Wow, what a pleasure.
We can do a screening of the movie we're talking about.
Yeah, let's do that.
Do come back.
That would be very interesting, actually, to do that.
Yeah,
That would
that would be.
It's a little long. Cheers. Hey, how do you do that?
Oh, we go.
Oh, that like that. There you go. Huh?
Got it.
Nice.
I got it. Cheers, you guys. I got to go and sign some autographs and take some pictures, and we're going to do a big show tonight. Who is this?
It's been a pleasure.
Let's all do a little dance.
Hi.
Oh, it's Nikki.
Oh, Nikki just got here.
Sorry, I'm late. I just got here. I'm so glad I got to meet you.
Okay, you got one question before I leave. You got a question?
All right, get it, Nikki.
Have you ever met William Shatner?
Yes, many, many times.
Oh my gosh, I love him so much. I met him once myself, so
He
yeah.
speaks very highly of you, I must say.
Got him.
Cheers, guys.
Peace out.
Good fun this was. Wow.
I don't know where Jeff Combs went, but I think the actual next person is Tim Russ.
You know, there's something very organic about theater. It is a live and real person. I'm just fascinated with this world because with this sort of thing on my face, I'm not sure how I could adequately emote. In fact, I don't even know what I look like right now.